Hey, Ag Teacher Thoughts here, and I've got something for you that is kind of important for those of you that have livestock. So, I told you before, I'm a plant nerd. And last night as I was coming through and weeding my flower bed, I saw a weed I didn't know. I thought I knew, but the more I looked at it, the more I didn't know. So the example that I have that I was just showing you is, and I've got to get some notes because again, this one's a new one for me, is Lepidium perfoliatum. It would be commonly known as clasping pepper grass. Clasping pepper grass. Now, some of you may have looked at that and briefly, and I'm pretty sure I've made this mistake before, looked at that and thought, oh no, it's Hoary Alyssum. For those of you that don't know, Hoary Alyssum would be Bertera incana, B-E-R-T-E-R-O-A, Bertera incana. And Hoary Alyssum is one that is toxic to livestock. Now, it's not toxic to all livestock, it's toxic to some livestock. I was doing some reading up on it, and it says like 50 to 60% of livestock reacts to Hoary Alyssum. So it's one of those that's always on a watch list. I didn't know about Hoary Alyssum until I took a trip back to Minnesota this last summer for an ag teacher professional development. And I was introduced to Hoary Alyssum. And when I came back here, I've been on the lookout for weeds that I don't know. And I saw this one, I thought, oh man, that's Hoary Alyssum. But one of the things, and this is why it's kind of confused, is when you're looking in here, the seed pods that we have here on Hoary Alyssum, they are translucent and they are also put right up next to the stem. Now this is not next to the stem, and they actually spiral around. See if I can get this focused in there. They spiral around that stem. So they also don't have kind of a pinnate point to the seed pod. These are round at the end. So as I was looking through, I was also looking at Hoary Alyssum, and Hoary Alyssum has a lancate leaf. And this clasping pepper grass actually has something completely different going on that's really interesting. So if you look down here in the early leaves down on the base of those, so these little leaves here, if you can kind of see as I'm highlighting that, see if I can get it to focus on those. Those are pinnatisect, like very, very deeply pinnatisect, which means they're opposite side, or there's leaves opposite sides, leaf structures opposite sides, and they're very, very, very deeply lobed. So you can see that these initial leaves that come out are very, very deeply pinnatisect. And then you get up here, and the secondary type of leaf is this one here. And if you look real close, the stem goes right through the center of that. So you would have something peltate, I believe peltate is the word for that, where the leaf comes out of the center. Okay, and then you come up here to the actual branch. Now, I was doing a little bit of thinking about this on this plant, trying to figure out why we would have a completely different shaped leaf down here below, right? So that very, very deep pinnatisect leaf. And I was thinking, I was like, gosh, well, if you had a grazing animal that came along, this is almost unnoticeable, right? So this blends in really, really well. It's very small. Whereas this, that looks like it's got some mass to it. So this may be some sort of adaptation for grazing animals, why we have two different types of leaf on here. Whether I'm right or not, I don't know, but you know, plants use different strategies. So with this is, well, let's see if we can get it to focus. There we go. This is a very, very interesting plant. And it is still in full bloom. See if we can get that to focus for you. Come on. There we go. So that is in full bloom right there. There are little itty bitty tiny yellow petals on this flower. And then you can see the stamens stick up from there. But this one does definitely quickly transition from blossom to seed head. Okay? So the reason why it would be of concern in this area is, as you'll look over my shoulder into the bright sunlight, we do have grazing animals that are right behind us here. So if we were to find something that was toxic to livestock, it's something that we would want to remove. Now, this clasping pepper grass, there's not a lot of clear information on whether or not it is toxic to livestock. So there is indications that it might be, but there's not enough to say that it is. Perennial pepper grass, yeah, toxic to livestock. Clasping pepper grass, we don't know. Or at least I was not able to locate something in the research that I've done. So with this, this is a specimen that I am going to remove from the ground here shortly, and I'm going to go ahead and prepare it as a dried specimen. So as an ag teacher, one of the things we do teach is plant identification. And being the plant nerd, I'm always willing to learn something that I don't know yet. And the clasping pepper grass is definitely one that was new to me. Now, I was talking to my wife, who actually grew up many, many miles south of here, actually along areas where the Oregon Trail ran. And some of the research that I found says that the clasping pepper grass, for whatever strange reason, maybe it was brought over through livestock, but it seems to be along where the Oregon Trail went, and then it kind of branches off from there as far as wherever people were going. Where I'm at now, you could say I'm on the very beginning of the very beginning of the Oregon Trail. As in the first one, Lewis and Clark had one of their campsites, like I can see it from here. So, you know, in this area, there would have been a lot of travel. I'm in a town right now that was a very, very early community in Idaho. So there's been a lot of habitation here, and people have moved around, and livestock have come in and out. So it would only make sense that we would have weed seeds or non-native plants that would come to this area over time. But yeah, this is a new one to me. Clasping pepper grass, Lepidium perfoliatum. Lepidium perfoliatum. So now that the greenhouse is kind of winding up, I'm going to kind of try to do some more of this summer. I used to do this really heavily on my Instagram, which is at Ag Teacher Thoughts. So same title, except it's on Instagram rather than YouTube. So if you want to read some of those old weed identifications, it's 101 degrees right now and people are rowdy. Yes, on May 3rd, where I'm sitting at right now, it's 101 degrees in the shade. So yeah, 3.5, 4 weeks ago there was snow. Now we're 101 degrees. But anyway, I'm going to keep doing this type of format this summer. I'm going to find new weeds. I'll show you how to identify them, try to give you the scientific name and kind of a history about them. I did one, a short, a few weeks ago on Japanese knotweed, and that seemed to be one of my most viewed shorts. So I would rather do a long form when it comes to weed identification. It give you a chance to really look at them, but I'll probably do a short of this one too. Tell me if you like it, and then we'll start doing a series on weed identification, because I have some others that we'll talk about, like this little guy here, kochia weed. If you know, you know. The kochia has sprouted here. So anyway, we'll talk about more as time goes on, and thought I would introduce you to clasping pepper grass, Lepidium perfoliatum. All right, Ag Teacher Thoughts out.